like to thank the organizers for having invited me to deliver this talk on very important topic of today and today's world. We have just finished a sumptuous lunch. I would like to ask how many of us looked at what we ate? How many of us looked at what was minimally processed, whether it was processed food or was it an ultra-processed food? My previous speaker just now explained so well that, the microbiota is the cause, or maybe the one of the causes for insulin resistance and also diabetes. And I am going to talk about more on this subject. So when you look at this picture, don't you feel sorry that the first man and today's man with Coca-Cola? Modern humans affected by obesity epidemic. That's what we are facing today. So the overview of my talk would be I would first describe the understanding of what food is, what is ultra processing, and etc. Then next is how to identify different types of foods based on processing levels. The next would be health impacts associated with high consumption of ultra processed foods, and how to reduce consumption of UPFs, and also what we can do. So coming to the definitions, processed foods are any foods that have been altered from their natural state through the various methods like washing, cutting, cooking, canning, freezing, or adding any ingredients such as preservatives, flavorings, or nutrients. This alteration can range from minimal processing like washing vegetables and to more extensive processing like making ready-to-eat meals. So examples of minimally processed foods are fresh berries, cut vegetables, and roasted nuts, which are simply prepared for convenience to eat. Foods processed at their peak of ripeness to lock in the nutritional quality and freshness include canned tomatoes, tuna fish, frozen fruits, or vegetables. Then there are also the highly processed foods with ingredients added for flavoring and changing the texture of the food. In other words, the matrix of the food, the content is different. It is not the same as the original matrix of the content. So that is called highly processed food. Now coming to the NOVA classification, when I was preparing this talk, I was really surprised to see that there is a classification called NOVA classification for different types of foods that we have. The number 1 is minimally processed food. Number 2 is processed for culinary ingredients. And then third, group 3 is processed foods. And group 4 is ultra processed foods. I'll come to the various types. Group 1, minimally processed foods. These are foods that undergone processes such as cutting, freezing, cleaning, and pasteurizing. Okay? So that do not substantially alter the nutritional composition. For example, fresh fruits, vegetables, milk, whole grains that are only cleaned or packaged without changing the substance. Group 2, processed culinary ingredients. These are, I'm sorry, it is changed when I changed it to this. The slides. These are, examples. These are culinary ingredients are ingredients which are necessary for our food to make it tastier, to make it edible. Example are sugar, oil, and butter from milk, ground spices, salted butter, iodized salt, and vinegar. So these are the culinary ingredients, and they are known as processed culinary ingredients, but we use them in a small quantity. Processed culinary foods are ingredients that have been slightly altered from their natural state to be used in the cooking. So these are not typically consumed on their own, but are added to the other foods to enhance flavor, texture, and appearance. They are derived from whole foods through the process like pressing, refining, grinding, milling, or spray drying. Now, added to dishes, these are components in the cooking, not usually eaten on their own. Purpose is to create more varied dishes and bring about a change in our day-to-day diets. So these are the examples that are mentioned there: fats and oils, sweeteners, flour and grains, seasonings, and these are the examples of processed culinary ingredients. Now, coming to the group 3, these are processed foods, which are more than minimally processed, but they are processed, but not highly processed. So these are usually prepared from group 1 foods by group 1 foods by adding sugar, oil or salt. They are preserved, pickled, salted or fermented. As my previous speaker said, fermented foods are good. They can be probiotics. So they are also required for us in smaller quantities. Now coming to the most important group, and that is ultra processed foods. Ultra processed foods are usually made in factories. At least one ingredient we don't use or rarely in domestic kitchen. The example are carbonating, firming, whipping, bulking, and anti-bulking, defoaming, etc. As you can see on the side of my slide, that these are all the ultra processed foods which are very easily available and in plenty around us. So ultra processed foods are industrial formulations typically containing little or no whole foods. They are designed to be hyper palatable and convenient. Okay? So they often include additives such as preservatives and flavor enhancers. The common examples are soft drinks, packaged snacks, and fast foods of all kinds. So eating processed foods occasionally is fine. Okay? So however, look for hidden sugars, fat and salt, especially those added during the processing. So every time you eat a processed food, you please look at the content. So most nutrition facts labels now include added sugars. So look for maltose, brown sugar, corn syrup, honey, and fruit juice concentrates. If they are among the first 5 contents, then please do not accept that, and please do not eat it. So as I already said, salt, sugar, oils, and other ingredients which are used in the ultra processing types. So what are the characteristics of the ultra UPFs? So UPFs are heavily promoted through various media channels, so usually advertised, then celebrity endorsed, ready to eat and consume, convenient for today's youngsters particularly. They buy the ready to eat food and then microwave it in the evening and eat. So pitched as anytime, anywhere foods and designed to be over-consumed. So what is the mechanisms of ultra processing of foods and their links to the health outcomes? We just had a talk about dysbiosis of the gut. So ultra processing foods are industrial formulations with ingredients rarely used in the kitchen, have an average higher energy density of 2.3 versus 1.1 kilocalories per gram, and they are lower in nutrient density than minimally processed foods. So high in saturated fat, added sugar and sodium, then greater intakes of total energy, free sugars, total and saturated fat are more, lower intakes of fiber, protein, and some micronutrients as well. So high palatability promotes a faster eating rate and energy overconsumption with daily energy intake. So there are some pros as well. This is a busy slide, I'm sorry about that, but frozen, pre-chopped and canned ingredients, they save time in the kitchen. The fortified foods provide important nutrients sometimes which are not available in the foods that we eat. So, and all the processing, even ultra processing, retain the proteins naturally throughout the processing, and others such as B vitamins and iron may be added back if they are lost during the processing. So that has to be taken care. Now cons are, we already said. Now coming to there is a rapid nutrition transition urbanization, transition, global food availability and affordability of food products. Because of that, there is a greatest transition that is fastest transition that is happening, especially in our country.